didn't have much time, but I wanted to at least look presentable. After flopping myself and my notebook in my pickup, I used a jaw clip to pull back my long auburn hair. Baking in a hot shop all day left me disheveled and sweaty. God knows I wasn't a hot young thing anymore. I couldn't thrive on 3 hours of sleep, a pot of coffee, and a dab or two of concealer. With the mascara smudges wiped off and my pale pink lipstick reapplied, I pulled out of G's Goodies and made my way out of town, headed into the Californian countryside. I needed this to go well. I'd canceled a date with a potential daddy to land this meeting. Edgar. I'd met him at a local DDLG mixer. There weren't sparks, but it had been such a long time since I had a daddy in my life, and Edgar seemed kind, even if a little dull. Ian and I had let that dynamic fade in the last few years of our marriage. But before that, no one could have described it as anything except intoxicating. Being a single mother made it difficult to let my little side come out and play. There just wasn't the time or space. When I arrived at the farm, 2 Australian shepherds bounded toward my vehicle, barking the whole way. Citrus trees formed neatly maintained rows as far as the eye could see, and a few chickens wandered round. It looked like an active little farm, almost picturesque, and I couldn't help but imagine the owner as some sweet old widow whose jam recipes had been passed down for generations. By the time I'd parked, both dogs stood outside my door, looking up at me eagerly. I took their wagging tails as a positive sign and hopped out of my truck. They immediately nuzzled themselves into my hands. A high-pitched whistle shot through the air, and I looked up to see Josiah standing in the barn door. "Cooper, Maggie, come," he commanded firmly. Both dogs ran toward him and sat near his feet. "Boss is around back," he said, nodding his head in the direction of a small set of steps leading off the house. He led me to a porch overlooking the orchard, nothing but farmland as far as I could see. The boss didn't look up as we approached. He had broad shoulders and confident posture, so there went my working theory. If he thought this was a warm welcome, he had a lot to learn. Josiah had slipped away, leaving me to decide how to approach the man. Finally, with a shot of determination, I walked across the porch and sat down. "Hi, I'm—" Before I could get my name out of my mouth, the man's head snapped up. His deep brown eyes found my own. It couldn't be. Not here, and certainly not now. We stared at each other in total silence. His face morphed from controlled shock to a half-smile. "What's the matter, princess? Cat got your tongue?" His dimples poked through his graying stubble. God, I hadn't realized how much I'd missed them. "Not at all," I said steadily. "I just didn't expect to see you here, Noah." The last time I saw him, he and his wife met us at a swingers club in New Mexico a decade and change prior. They'd taken to us immediately, and Ian and I felt the same. We'd enjoyed a few months together, meeting up at the club every weekend and renting hotel rooms. Then, all of a sudden, they'd disappeared. We had no contact info for them and nothing to go off outside the club. "You're looking as beautiful as ever, Greta." He poured me a glass of wine, and for the first time, I noticed the spread in front of us. Jams, breads, fresh fruit, yogurt, cheese. He had pulled out all the stops. I had to be dreaming. Had I fallen at the bakery and hit my head? I felt like I'd fallen down a portal right into another world. But he sat in front of me, plain as day, with his strong hands folded calmly in front of him. Surely he wasn't actually that calm. "Where's Julia? I'd love to see her." It must have been her jam recipe then. It surprised me she hadn't joined us for the business meeting. He cleared his throat. "She's been gone for a while." My heart thudded despite my resolve to stay calm. Did that mean Noah was single? "When did you two get divorced? Ian and I broke things off romantically 5 years ago." An awkward pause lingered between us. It must have been a nasty divorce, which surprised me considering how in love they'd been. "Dead, Greta. She's dead."